guys, what are we going to do today? Today we're going to make these cute trays. You can make them cutting boards or just hang them on your wall. Let's get started. So to get started, you're going to need something to decoupage on. And for this tray, I'm just using this 14.5-inch circle wood piece. And then you're going to have to decide what you would like to decoupage on. I'm using this recycled paper. It's very large. I'm going to use the pumpkin part. And at the end, we'll show you some others we've done with different paper. Today, I'm going to use a little different decoupage medium that I like, and I keep trying to use different things to show you different ideas. This one's called Natasha Creative. You put it on, let it dry, and then we're just going to iron this paper on. I've used a few other iron-on methods, but I thought I would try it with this and show you how easy this is. So I'm gonna put a nice coat on here. And you need to make sure all of it is covered, otherwise where you iron it won't stick. So after you get a nice coat on, I kind of even go over one more time just to be sure it's covered really well and I haven't missed anything. And I'll add just another little coat. This is good. I'm just gonna let this set and dry, and then we're gonna iron this on. Okay, so my board is dry. It's been just a little over an hour. It's got a little bit of a tack. This is good. So this is the part of the paper I'm gonna use. So I'm kind of lining this up. I'm just gonna cut this section off and then iron it on. And then we'll use sandpaper to take off the excess. So I'm gonna line this up exactly where I'm gonna want it, because when I iron it, it's on there. And I'm using parchment paper on top of this and just ironing this down. But if you really wanted your image to pop, especially if it's a lighter image, if you paint your board white, and then when you put your decoupage paper over the top, since this is translucent, when you see the paper on top, it'll seem brighter. If I had painted black on this board and put this on top, I'd have a darker haze. I just really wanted this muted, so this worked perfect. And now, and there are no wrinkles at all. I am gonna get my sanding block and we are going to sand around the edges. So when you're sanding your paper, you definitely wanna do a downward motion. If you go up and down, you have a chance of lifting your paper up and ripping it. So going straight down, you get a nice, even, smooth cut on your edges. So I'm going to cut a few of these leaves out and decoupage these on here. So to get these little pieces on, I'm actually just going to use my liquid patina. Any decoupage medium you would like to use would work on this. Now this will want to wrinkle up really quickly when you're doing it, so you need to move quickly on this. But you need to make sure it's all coated or it will not stick. And I'm using a little piece of plastic, just part of a plastic bag. I'll do this side. I'm gonna now lightly sand these edges off. You kind of want to make sure it's kind of dry. I think these are good. So I'm just gonna carefully do that. If your paper is still very, very wet, it can tend to rip your paper. So I feel like these look like they are actually on the paper because I did the fussy cutting. So what I'm gonna do next is stencil the word pumpkin right here. So I'm just gonna use this word pumpkin. And this is from a stencil I had used last year sometime on one of my other YouTube videos. But I think I'm gonna put a little bit of this pixie spray, the repositionable spray, on here just to hold it down. I'm gonna let it get a little dry. It'll still be tacky, but you don't want it so wet that when you lay it on your paper, it rips. Line it up where I want it. Just gonna tape off a few little edges so I don't accidentally get paint over there. Putting paint on my brush, and I am going to pounce it off. And then I'm just gonna do an up and down motion over my stencil. Go. Let that dry very quickly. And then we're gonna start with our next stencil. So what I am using is chalk paste, which is kind of a texture medium, and it has different colors. And I wanted to use something subtle. I'm using this Turkish coffee, just depending on the look you're wanting to get. I really love this stencil. It's been a wonderful background. Mara LaFay designed this, and this is one of her gorgeous stencils. Okay, so let's get started and see where we want to do this. I am going to just kind of lightly tape off where I don't want it. So I'm just going to mask this part off so I don't accidentally get my chalk paste in these area. Using a little rubber spatula. Some people even just use a credit card. And this is a thicker stencil, so sometimes I have to do 2 passes if you want a nice thick texture on this. And you can see this is very, very simple. The biggest thing is you want to make sure you do not let your stencil move. It gives you such a wow effect for being so quick. Put the rest back in my container here. Let's pull this up and see. Very, very carefully, and you can wait. I am just going to lightly rub and just get this excess off. Then we're going to start on another section. Okay, so we are going to let this set up and dry, and then we're going to add a few transfers. Okay, so now I'm going to add, this is all dry, so I'm going to add my transfers on here where I want them. So now let's antique this. I'm using my Distress Oxide. I'm using the vintage photo, and I'm going to lightly go over where I had already done my chalk paste. I'm going to let this dry really, really quickly, and then I'm going to do some black on the edges, and then we're going to seal it. I'm going to use a little bit of this black soot just to go around the edges a little bit. So I'm just using this polyacrylic sealer, and it's a gloss. You could use matte gloss, satin, whatever you would like, and I am just going to seal this whole project. It may want to bubble up a little because it is paper, but since we had ironed it down the first time, as soon as it dries, it will smooth right back out. Okay, let's just let this dry. So the last thing I would do is add some handles. I think I like the silver ones. The black ones are cool, but it takes away from the pumpkin. And I think these bring the pumpkin out more. So all I would do is measure where my holes are, drill 2 holes, and screw these in. Or you could even have a hole in the center with a handle that comes up, like a carrying tray. Or you could just put a hanger on it and hang it on a wall. So if you don't remember in the beginning, this is the paper that we use. This is a Fall Projects block from Recycle Papers. And we also have these wood rounds, but you really can use anything you've already got. Any old cutting boards or wood pieces, and design your own piece. And you can see that this is what we had used, but you can see there's a little bit of a difference. And then when I finish it and we add some things, you just get this wow effect, even though this paper is just beautiful on its own. And then here's another set we did using the small project blocks for Halloween. And we had used this section here for this one, and I used the moth for this one. It shows you a totally different look, but the same concept, the same idea, and the same technique. So I hope you guys give this a shot, and I'd love to see what you do, but have fun.